earlier, now Del Barton. And so this looks like this would be heading right along Elk Creek Road, crossing Route 65 right now, heading toward Elk Creek Road. And if it holds together, it would be passing near Pine Creek. So if you're in Pine Creek there, right along the county border, that's another spot where I think you want to be in the lowest level of your home. And you don't have a whole lot of time here because this is moving so fast, 50, 60 miles an hour. All these cells have been moving very, very quickly. So you want to get in your lowest level of your home. There's a scan that just updated. So again, you can see that passing that center circulation right just near and north of Ragland. That's that storm crossing there over towards Left Fork Elk Creek Road as that makes its way off to the north and east. That's the cell that's prompted this tornado warning. And a more broad area of a severe thunderstorm warning with this whole area as it's making its way off to the north and to the east. So you can see it's a very broad storm. The northern end of this cell is producing strong winds. That's heading up towards Logan. So this is this tornado warning in effect for Del Barton. Williamson, it's past you. So I think Williamson's kind of right on the edge there, but the cell is past Williamson. Switzer is included in this warning. Logan is not. But you still got a severe thunderstorm warning for the Logan, downtown Logan area for up to 50, 60 mile an hour wind gusts here on the north side of this supercell, this thunderstorm cell that's formed. But again, the concentration, what's prompted the tornado warning is this circulation right in here. And it takes on the shape, you know, kind of that hook shape. You can kind of see how it's shaped. It's got that hook and that notch right in here. And so that's where you can typically see a tornado form. So that's right near Ragland right now. And just north of Ragland, I'd say we're, you know, if there was a tornado, it would probably be right in this zone, right in here. So kind of passing in there between Rockhouse Fork Road and Elk Creek Road. And again, this is just a radar indicated tornado, but still you want to get into the lowest level of your home. And get away from windows. And if you have a basement, that's the best place to be. And again, even if this isn't an actual tornado, it could certainly be straight line winds. Could be, you know, 60, 70 mile an hour or higher winds. We saw that happen Sunday night down in Pike and Floyd counties. Had a signature similar to this. Didn't turn out to be a tornado, but it was straight line winds that were 90 to 100 miles an hour, and that took some roofs off some structures. So whether it's a tornado or straight line winds needs to be treated seriously, ultimately whatever it ends up being. But it definitely has that kind of hook-like shape right there as it's passing just to the north of Ragland and moving off to the east again at around 50 miles an hour. So again, we're following that. That's tornado warning in effect until 4:30 across Mingo and Logan counties, southern half of Logan County. So again, Switzer is on the northeastern side of that tornado box. The tornado box is in red, and then you've got the severe thunderstorm box that's around that. And that storm is continuing to maintain a hook shape here. And so what's happening is kind of a broader picture. These storms, we had the storms last night, which prompted a number of tornado warnings. The atmosphere kind of took a break earlier today. We kind of tapered off to just some showers, but we've seen some clearing across southern parts of Kentucky and southern West Virginia. So while many of us have stayed pretty cloudy and temps are in the 60s, temps have spiked up down here in the southern zones. And so that's allowing for some instability here and some energy basically for this southern end of this line that you can see moving in. And there's more cells back here. All of these will have to be watched as they move into this environment over the next few hours. There's going to be a risk here for some spin-ups and at least some cells that take on the shape with some rotation that they can prompt some tornado warnings. So I suspect this may not be the last one that we see here. But again, we're kind of focused right now on this cell that's crossing through Mingo County and heading towards Logan County. And you can see how fast it's moving. Again, that's kind of centered right near Ragland currently, as that makes its way on off to the east. There you can see some of the lightning strikes with this cell as well as it continues to make its way into parts of Logan County. And there's that distinct signature right there with that hook Again, right near kind of a broad area right in there between Raglan and Pine Creek. So that's kind of the inflow notch right there where there could be a possible tornado. But north side of this definitely could be some larger hail with this particular cell as it makes its way into Logan County. So Barnabas, you want to get into your safe spot. You want to get into the lowest level of your home. This signature right here is going to pass very close to Barnabas here very soon. Switzer, Upper Whitman, pretty close to that. You're kind of on the upper end of this box, but this thing kind of taking a little bit of a north turn, it looks like, or at least a north-northeast turn. Just kind of going back over the last couple of frames there, you can see that. And we'll take a look at you can still see that kind of distinct area of red and then this blue. So those are strong winds and those are rotating winds. And that's kind of located right near Cow Creek Road and Left Fork Elk Creek, kind of in between those two zones where you're seeing this green and the red meet up. That's indicating possible rotation here where these winds are kind of circulating around. And again, you can have rotation in thunderstorm cells. Doesn't necessarily mean that there is an actual tornado on the ground, but certainly enough evidence from the National Weather Service that they put out the tornado warning, and that's in effect at least for another 10 minutes. And this thing certainly not showing any signs, at least at this point, of weakening. And we're going to be having to watch more of these cells back to the west here as they continue to develop as well. Right now, I'm seeing there's one that's heading towards Louisa. It's a pretty strong storm, but it looks like it's more straight line kind of winds. Same thing with these cells back here. That's the only tornado warning is that one currently in Mingo and Logan counties. These cells are looking a little bit more what we call linear in nature. The other thing that we're watching is flooding. We've got flash flood warnings that are in effect here from Hamlin down through Chapmanville, west on over through West Liberty and Sawyersville. This zone in here is getting worked over again by some more downpours. And we've already had about an inch or two of rain that fell last night and early this morning. So the concern is for enhanced flooding of streams and creeks once again. And you can kind of see where this is aimed. If you kind of draw this out, wouldn't surprise me eventually to see some flash flood warnings get issued for parts of Kanawha County and Boone County, Clay, Nicholas, at least northern Fayette County, just because the path of that storm, the path of these storms is kind of aimed in that direction. This stuff kind of goes all the way back to the west. So unfortunately, yeah, I'm kind of seeing this general storm path here where this activity just goes over the same spots over and over again. So we had that round last night that kind of settled in from the northwest, and now it's kind of, this boundary is just kind of draped over us. There is a little bit of a gap once you get past 75. I think we may start to see that later this evening. So we'll get some heavy weather this early evening, late afternoon, early evening, up to about, I'd say, 8 o'clock, maybe 9 o'clock. And then there'll be a bit of a gap where it's probably just some showers. But then late tonight, there's more activity back to the west, which we're going to be following as well. So again, we've got the tornado warning in effect for south central parts of Mingo County. Again, Williamson, this is past you now, and it is also past Del Barton. It is, I mean, it's moving quick, past Raglan now, and looks a little bit, has a little bit of a different shape right now on it. Let's switch on over. You can still see in the velocity scan, you still got near Crystal Block and Barnabas, you still have that circulation signature. And so that's moving, you know, just given that signature, going to be interesting. I wouldn't be surprised to see this perhaps get extended. And if it got extended, it would probably include places like Erling and Don and Dabney. So if I name, you know, Man, I think all these areas here along Route 10 could end up, if this tornado warning gets extended, it would include you folks as well, given how this thing is tracking. So that's how things are looking right now. And again, this particular tornado warning, they did trim back the western part of this, but this particular tornado warning box right here in red goes until 4:30. And we're going to see if this gets extended to the east. But you can still see a pretty pronounced signature there on the radar in terms of the winds. So you're not looking at precipitation here like you normally are radar. This is the wind that the radar's sensing, and it's sensing that spin. So, other spots here, when you look at other spots, it's generally the same color. Okay, all green. And where you see the whiter colors, that's a stronger wind gust right there around Adams approaching Louisa. So, that's at least a 40-mile-an-hour gust there, but that's just straight wind. But what you see down here and what prompts the tornado warning is this juxtaposition of the green and red. You have different colors. That's indicating possible spin that can reach the ground, can reach the ground. Again, no confirmation yet that this is a tornado on the ground. It's radar indicated. But certainly a pretty stout storm. And again, the northern end of this thing, while it's not tornadic here, Dogpatch to Logan and Peach Creek, but that's still strong gusts and some hail with this particular cell, plus some heavy rain too. And that's making its way. And again, you can see how fast everything is moving, super fast. The storms last night, some of them were moving at 80 to 85 miles an hour. We have very, very strong winds aloft in the atmosphere, which we typically have in April and May. And so when you get these cells, they can ramp up quickly, and you don't have a whole lot of time to prepare. So that's why, at this point, I'd play it safe for sure. And, if you're in Erling or Man or Dabney, I would get into a safe spot, get into the lowest level of your home, and place, interior room away from windows. If you have a basement, that's the best place to go in this kind of situation. You won't have to wait this out for very long because it's moving so quickly. But again, you want to get away from windows certainly in this kind of situation and get to the lowest part of your house. And basement's always the best place if you have one. So there's that tornado warning still in effect, and we're going to see what the National Weather Service is going to do with this. At least the radar presentation does look a little bit more ragged. You had that hook right there when it was passing Williamson and Del Barton. You could kind of see that notch. It's a little bit less defined, but it's still got right, I'd say right there, just east of 44, just east of Crystal Block. That's kind of where we're seeing that kind of inflow signature right there with this particular storm. And that is moving its way off to the northeast at around 50 miles an hour. So that's what we're watching with that. And again, there are more storms off to the north and west. No circulation with these currently. But it actually looks like, as some of these cells move into West Virginia, this zone down in here, I think is, we're going to have to watch that. Because I think any cell that makes its way across this area this afternoon has the potential to gain some spin to it. So we're still waiting, looking to see if there's any updates. Because again, there's about 4 minutes left on this particular tornado warning here. And this cell's starting to make its way to the east. So I think they're looking to decide on whether they're going to extend this warning or not. But you still have a bit of that inflow signature right there, and that's near Don. So I would get in your safe spot, and I didn't name you before, but Don, if you're in the area of Don, because if there's a tornado, it would probably be right in that zone there, and that's right on top of you, basically. So get down into the lowest level of your home right now, and again, probably in about 5 minutes from now, this will be off to your east. So that's moving its way off to the east. You can still see that signature there. And then further north, severe thunderstorm warning. And that is also, I think, in effect until 4:30. Severe thunderstorm warning. So again, the northern end of this complex has some hail and strong winds. But the tornado part of it, the potential tornado part of it, is on the southern end, right on this little hook signature. Now that hook signature is just moved basically out of the tornado warning box. So this area here in Don and over toward just right, Mallory's right on the eastern end of that box. You're under severe thunderstorm warning right now. but we don't know if they're going to extend the tornado warning here or not. But yeah, we are looking at more of these signatures here back to the west. And there's one across south central Kentucky that looks like that might be gaining a little bit of a notch as well. So we're going to be watching all of these here as we head throughout the next couple of hours. So yeah, we should be coming up. We'll see what happens with this. We're going to stick with this, even though I think the cell itself is moving out of the warning box here. I want to see what the folks of the National Weather Service decide to do about this cell, because it hasn't, I wouldn't say it's completely fallen apart just yet. But it is, it does have some rotating features here with it as it's making its way right near Route 10. So again, that you're seeing that signature right near Don and over near, near Man, as it's making its way on off to the east right there. And that's going to continue to track its way off to the north, northeast. It's moving at around 50 miles an hour. So strong inbound and outbound winds with that. And just continuing to monitor this. And we're going to see what happens with this warning. Okay, so the warning just disappeared. I'm going to wait and see, though. Hold on to see. It does not look as pronounced as it was here with this signature. So that tornado warning did expire. But we're just going to hang here for a minute or two. It does look like they've dropped that, and the severe thunderstorm warning has dropped as well. But still, a stout storm, even if it's not technically severe anymore. That's still a pretty stout storm. And it does still have that little notch echo, though it's not nearly as pronounced as it was earlier. But again, Route 10, and then up through, the worst of this is now moving east of downtown Logan for you folks, and through Wanda. So heads up in Kelly, Ammersdale, 5 block. And then eventually this particular cell will head across southern parts of Boone County as well. And even if it's not technically severe is defined by, 58 plus mile an hour wind gusts. It could be 50 mile an hour gusts, and that's still enough to knock down some trees. And it'll produce some heavy rain, could produce maybe at least some dime or nickel size hail as well as it tracks its way on off to the north and to the east. And on the northern side of this, just seeing the general rain picking up around Charleston, but we'll have to keep an eye again on the streams and creeks. We got a little break for a bit, but more downpours are moving in. So there's kind of a dual threat here. We're talking about possibility of severe storms and at least isolated tornadic spin-ups. But there's also the flood threat for sure. So we've got the flash flood warning in effect right now from Lincoln and western Boone County on back through Morgan and Magoffin counties in Kentucky. And I would not be surprised to see some more counties get added to the flash flood warning here as we head throughout the next couple of hours. So we're going to have a complete update coming up at 5 o'clock with our newscast on WCHS, just about a half an hour. Right now, no warning currently on this. It does look like they are going to issue a severe thunderstorm warning. They're going to put out a severe thunderstorm warning here for this particular cell. So that's going to be kind of right in this zone here across Boone County and Raleigh. It hasn't shown up here in the system, but that's going to be a severe thunderstorm warning. So southern half of Boone County, eastern Logan County, they're going to put a severe thunderstorm warning on it. But they're not seeing enough rotation to indicate a tornado warning anymore. So we're going to return you to regularly scheduled programming, and we will have more weather updates coming up at 5 o'clock. Tune in then. Thanks for joining us.